Pulling up to Mickey D's just for drinks? Oh yeah, that's me. Nothing extra, just perfection and a straw. Coming in hot for the coldest cups on the block. Because there are drinks. Then there are drinks from McDonald's.
Ever combine an ice-cold frozen Coke with piping hot fries? Try frozen drinks any size for $1.49. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Local news, national news, even feel-good news. Delivering the topics that are relevant to you.
That's why I listen to Joe. He covers it all.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
Joe, how you doing?
Hey.
This is your favorite buddy, the one you call the douche.
What?
Because I told you, don't be soft in the belly. About deportation, mass deportation. You sure you want to bring this subject up again?
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen.
I do.
You see what's happening to our nation. I hope you got a little stronger, tighten that gut up. Good afternoon and have a great show.
Thanks, buddy. Listen, there's no way I called him a douche. Laurel, did I call that guy a douche?
I feel like we only ever used that word when we were talking about our noses the other day.
Yes, I bought a nasal douche to help me with my allergies. If I called you a douche, please accept my apologies. I'm wondering if maybe I said something like, that was kind of a douchey comment or something along those lines. By the way, can I get clarification? Are we allowed to say douche on the radio even in the first place? What's that? We are. No, it's okay. Okay, as long as it's talking about nasal douche, then we're fine. So listen, here's the story. All right, I absolutely believe, with no uncertain terms, that we've got to first close the border. Period. We've got to close the border to everybody who's coming across until we can get a handle on our immigration issues. And secondly, we've got to empty out the United States of people who came here illegally. Where you and I disagree is how to do that. Because President Trump has vowed to carry out, in his words, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. And that sounds awesome. Sounds fantastic. Yes, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. But the problem with that is that the illegal immigration problem is too vast. It's too big to claim we're going to deport everybody who's here illegally. Let's just use the random number of 10 million. Okay, let's just say it's 10 million. Now, the Department of Homeland Security and Customs and Border Patrol tell us that under the Biden administration, 7 million have crossed the border illegally. 7 million. Add in all the millions that were here before that. Add the millions that they're not counting. So let's just say we have 10 million illegal immigrants in the United States that would then become part of the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. What would that look like? First of all, the expense of that would be astronomical. I did the math on this with 10 million illegals. If we're going to do a deportation for 10 million illegal immigrants, that would necessitate 200,000 buses. 200,000 buses. And that is just presuming we take them across the Mexican border. Keeping in mind that a lot of the illegal immigrants crossing the border are not Mexicans. So that's just dumping them back in Mexico. So if we weren't to use buses and we were to use airlines instead, let's pick a big plane. Let's pick the 747. That would be 16,700 747s to deport 10 million people. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because there's a new study out now from Axios and the Harris poll that says half of Americans, including 42% of Democrats, say they would support mass deportations of undocumented immigrants. And 30% of Democrats and 46% of Republicans now say they would end birthright citizenship something that is guaranteed under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. So what I'm saying is we can't possibly deport 10 million people. Logistically, we can't pull it off. But what we can do is stop making America an attractive nuisance. Stop making America an attractive place to come. Make America a miserable place to be if you're not an American citizen. If you're not an American citizen, you don't get free hotel rooms. You don't get free housing. You can't get a job. You can't get education. You're not going to get handouts. You're not going to get health care. You're not going to get anything. And the second we turn off the spigot of support, the second we stop making America a luxurious place to come, those who are here illegally will leave. They will leave on their own. So we won't have to pay to deport them. When they have no options inside the borders of the United States, they will leave. And if they need help leaving, we'll help them leave. So we're on the same page here. We agree. We totally agree on deporting them. We totally agree that they have to leave. I just don't see it's possible to book 16,700 747 flights or 200,000 buses, the expense of which and the logistics of which are an impossibility. I think for Donald Trump to say the largest domestic deportation operation in American history sounds, it does. It sounds awesome. Woo! Yeah. Logistically, it's just not feasible. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. Let me know your thoughts on that and whether or not you agree that we should deport them somehow, some way, be it self-deportation or mandatory compulsory deportation.
Mass deportation? Heck yes. And while they're at it, take the current administration with you, too. They're not real Americans. They might as well leave. And all the protesters for Hamas, they can leave as well.
Just everybody we don't like, we'll put them on a bus and send them to Mexico.
Heck yes. Round them up and send them anywhere. But get them out of the United States.
Get them out of the U.S. All right, let me know. 844-580-WDBO. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. By the way, today was Take Your Children to Work Day today, and our office was flooded with adorable children today. Laurel, that's something you got to look forward to in the future?
Yeah, bringing the kiddo in.
So I want you to hear 11-year-old Lily. She is the daughter of one of our coworkers, and she came into the WDBO studio today, and I had her read a news story. This is 11-year-old Lily.
Ron DeSantis is warning Florida college students.
Say it with authority. Ron DeSantis is warning Florida college students.
Ron DeSantis is warning Florida college students not to illegally protest on campus. The governor's remarks come as a pro-Palestinian protesters on college campuses across the nation organized against the Israel-Hamas war and the United States funding. DeSantis posted, "If you try that at a Florida university, you are going to get expelled."
I loved her attitude there as she quoted Ron DeSantis. Good for you. Great job, Lily, 11-year-old. And here is PJ. And PJ, I think, is 13. I wrote down 11, but I don't think that's right. I think he's 13. Here's PJ.
One day after President Biden signed legislation into law sending billions of dollars worth of aid to Israel, White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says the president supports a peaceful revolution between Israel and Gaza.
We support a two-state solution. You've heard the president talk about that a lot. But it's got to be done through direct negotiations between the parties, Israel and the Palestinian Authority.
Kirby speaking aboard Air Force One, President Biden has called the U.S. ally to negotiate a ceasefire with Hamas in the meantime.
Oh, I think these guys have bright futures ahead of them as broadcasters. I do. 844-580-WDBO. Let's go to Mike in Harmony. What's up, Mike? You're on the Joe Kelley Show.
Hey, how you doing, Joe? Listen,
Good.
on this mass deportation, I agree with you, okay? Make it miserable, yes. But what I think he meant by mass deportation, it's going to take years to do that.
Oh, it certainly will.
Before the border was open, we were deporting people that came across the border.
The numbers were smaller at the time.
Bunch of them, pardon me?
The numbers were smaller at the time.
Yeah, exactly. But now there's 10 million, maybe more. So it's going to take time to do it, but it can be done.
No doubt. Absolutely, Mike. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your call. Let's go to Jerry in St. Cloud. What's up, Jerry?
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Okay, on the deportation, I agree. I don't know how miserable we'll ever be able to make them. The love your neighbor crowd isn't going to allow them to sleep behind dumpsters and starve. The poor little kids, blah, blah, blah. But not 747s, not buses. You're correct. But you know what we do have? Ships. Big ships.
I didn't calculate ships. I could, yeah.
We pack them in, and we sail straight to the country they come from. We pull into Venezuela. We pull into Argentina. We pull into Mexico. We pull into the countries these people are pouring in from. We pull those ships up and we dump them.
Very good. Jerry, thank you so much, man. I didn't think about ships. I was thinking about different transport methods, but certainly maritime vessels are another mode of transportation, as we recently learned from the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. 844-580-WDBO. You can use the open mic and the WDBO app. Coming up next, all the stories and headlines that you missed while you were at work today. That's coming up next on The Joe Kelley Show.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Cash in on our 100th anniversary with the WDBO payroll payout. Your next chance at $1,000 happens tomorrow at 8 a.m. Listen for the keyword and then tap the payroll payout button in the WDBO app. It's our way of saying thank you for 100 incredible years. Just clocked out? Let's rewind. Here's what you missed while you were at work.
New York's highest court overturns the Harvey Weinstein 2020 rape conviction, ordering a new trial in the landmark Me Too case. Saw a bunch of ridiculous headlines today that said that means Harvey Weinstein could walk free. No, he absolutely cannot and will not walk free. He was also convicted in Los Angeles for 17 years to serve there. So he'll simply be transferred from New York to Los Angeles while they retry him in New York. You heard, and I'm sorry, it was either Sean Hannity or Eric Erickson mentioned earlier today, and I don't recall who said it at this point, but they were talking about how the Biden administration is growing convinced that they're not going to win re-election, so they're cramming through all of these last-minute regulations, trying to get them under the wire before Donald Trump regains the White House, and this is a prime example of that. The Environmental Protection Agency issued a new rule today. Coal-fired power plants would be forced to capture smokestack emissions or shut down under a rule that was issued by the EPA today. A federal judge in New York rejects former President Trump's bid for a new trial in a defamation case brought by writer E. Jean Carroll. The ruling upheld the jury's $83.3 million damage award. Dozens of U.S. special operators will withdraw from Chad in Africa in the coming days, the second blow in a week to American policy in Africa. once again, we, the United States, are leaving a leadership vacuum in Africa. And there are other nations, say China and Russia, that are more than happy to step up and fill those leadership vacuums. The University of Southern California cancels its main graduation ceremony. The school made that announcement this afternoon. The decision comes after the college had previously canceled this year's valedictorian speech, citing potential threats. Imagine you have gone to the University of Southern California for the past 4 years. You have studied your tail off. You have worked so hard to get a degree from the University of Southern California, and now the university makes the cowardly decision to cancel the graduation ceremonies because they're afraid that things could get out of hand. The inmates are running the asylum. The students certainly are running the university there, not the other way around.
Joe Kelley.
What?
How much is it going to cost to let all these 10 million, however many million, 7 million, whatever million you want to put on, how much is it going to cost us to take care of all of these people and all of their children that they have in the years to come?
Yeah, I don't know what point you're trying to make there, because I agree with you. You're absolutely right. We can't afford it. We absolutely cannot afford it, which is why we should withdraw all benefits from anybody who is not here legally, period, full stop.
To have a mass deportation, all we have to do is create policies that says if you're a company and you hire someone that is not an American citizen, there's a hefty penalty and owners of that company go to jail. And then the government quits giving these illegals phones, quits giving them credit cards, quits giving them a place to stay, and they'll happily walk back across the border.
Bing pot. Exactly right. Totally agree. 844-580-WDBO, or you can use the open mic in the WDBO app.
Joe, I get your point. I know it's going to be a massive effort, but what we can't afford is to continue to spend money letting these people in, giving them $2,000 debit cards, phones, tablets, and whatnot, and paying the Border Patrol to let them across. Listen, this has to stop. And the money that we're spending now to let them in, we need to reverse it and get them out.
Yes. I completely agree with you. This new poll that's out now from Axios and the Harris Polling Company, they find that nearly 2/3 of Americans, both Democrat and Republican, say illegal immigration is a real crisis, not a politically driven media narrative. 2/3. When was the last time Americans were united on a single issue? 2/3 of Americans believe that this is a real crisis, and it has been a crisis of the Biden administration's deliberate making.
Joe, I like what you're saying, but here's the reality of it. They're not going to leave. They're going to start their own little cartels here, and a lot of innocent people are going to get killed. And your Democrats, your bleeding heart Democrats will back them. Forget it if you think they're leaving.
Oh, I think we can put the pressure on them to look. I think we can put the pressure on them for a lot of them to want to leave, and then we will have to deport the others that don't leave voluntarily. I mean, if we have to take others by force, that's fine. But we should first make it intolerable for them to live here day to day. Every day should be more difficult than the country from which they came. 844-580-WDBO. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. Look for the Joe Kelley Show podcast wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, the WDBO app. There is going to be a lot of traffic around downtown Orlando late this afternoon into tonight. We've got a guy in downtown that's going to explain why. That'll be coming up next on the Joe Kelley Show.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. In-depth segments on topics that matter to Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and all of Central Florida. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
I love your show every night. You're doing great, bud.
All right. Our regular producer, Greg Rhodes, I don't want to say he has the day off because he worked earlier today. but he swapped shifts. So we got Ronald on the board, and Greg Rhodes is actually at the Kia Center right now. And Greg joins us live from there. And Greg, we got not just a basketball game, but a big basketball game, and it's kind of an important game. Probably the most, maybe the final game of the season for all intents and purposes for the Magic.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Orlando's coming up on a really tough stretch here this weekend up against Cleveland, down 0-2, coming back home to the Kia Center. So we'll see if they can take care of business tonight against the Cavs.
And the game is sold out, or at least close to?
Yeah, no, you're seeing full lines outside of the ticket booth, and you're seeing full lines, people trying to get in to get that playoff merchandise.
So it is going to be a busy night in downtown Orlando, and a lot of traffic that is going to be trying to get into downtown in time for the game. What time's tip-off?
Tip-off will be tonight at 7 o'clock.
And do we have any injured players? Do we have anything that we need to be concerned about other than just losing?
We were worried about Jalen Suggs coming into the game after an injury that he had in Game 2, but he seems to have rebounded. Doesn't seem he's going to have any limitations tonight, so we're looking for a full roster tonight.
So it is possible that if the Magic lose tonight's game, they could still win the next 4 games and win the series.
Sure.
You're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. It's not a likely chance, but there's definitely a chance. But that definitely makes tonight pretty much as close to a must-win as you can get to in NBA terms.
I think we're is that a fact, Ronald, that you just told me? We were trying to research this. We think it's never happened before that a team has been down 3-0 and come back to win the series.
Yeah, I think in modern NBA history, I believe that's correct. I think it's happened maybe 3 times in all of NBA history, but with the modern format, I think Ronald's probably correct on that.
And then where, if they win tonight, or either way, win or lose, where is the next game also here in Orlando?
Correct. Yep. We've got a game tonight, and then we'll have another game on Saturday at 1 o'clock. Now, that'll be a twofer. So you're going to have a 1 o'clock NBA playoff game, and then you'll have a 9 o'clock ECHL playoff game later that night at the same arena.
Now, I don't know if people understand this, if they know this, but so at the Kia Center is both where the Orlando Magic play and the Orlando Solar Bears ice hockey team plays. And when the ice hockey team plays, they don't suddenly refreeze water to make it ice. That ice is there under the basketball court during the games.
Yep, no, that's correct. It's a little bit of a special kind of ice. It's not exactly like pond ice, but it's there the whole time.
So there's quite a transformation process that takes place at the Kia Center when they go from a 1 o'clock basketball game to a 9 o'clock hockey game.
Yeah, no, and we're not the only arena in the NBA that does that. There, the Boston Bruins and Boston Celtics share an arena up in Boston, and a couple other teams around the cup, various leagues. But it's definitely one of the more unique situations. And then while I have you, you mentioned the next game Saturday. 2 more, with the Solar Bears Saturday night. We've got a big. Let me back up. Orlando was recently voted. What was it? The best sports city in America. Yeah, for business specifically, yep. So one of the for best out-of-town businesses to come in and spend their dollars here in Orlando, they found their best bang for their buck is the city of Orlando. And then we're going to have on Saturday alone, 5 different games? 5 different events going on in Orlando alone. So you'll have the Magic and Solar Bears game that we already mentioned. We also have Orlando City coming back for a soccer game. And then over on the UCF side of town, we're going to have a doubleheader of softball and baseball going on. All right, so we got a lot of sports happening. If that's your thing, which Greg, I know that happens to be your thing. It happens to be my thing. Happens to be. All right, so go Magic tonight. Tip off at you said 7 o'clock, right? 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. All right, Greg Rhodes, great job. Thank you, man. Thank you, guys. This is a fun city, no doubt. If you want to take in some sports, do you think we could handle an NFL team? Do you think that's in our future at some point? An NFL team, Paul Cross? You don't think that's You don't think it's in our future? No, I don't think we can support a full NFL team here. I was having doubts that we'd even be able to support an MLB baseball team, but that's something that's been in the talks as well. But I don't think we have it. Yeah. I'll tell you something that bothers me when I go to a Magic game is seeing how many jerseys are in the stadium for the opposing team. That's the reason why, like, the San Diego Chargers left their city. It's because even when they were at home, they had more opposing team
fans at the stadium than their own home team. And they started selling season tickets, but you'd have to buy like the games against the Raiders and the games because they didn't want them to be sold off single-handedly and have them take over their home stadium. But that's what you see here as well in a lot of sports.
I used to live in Oklahoma, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, let me tell you, what they do for the Thunder games is they will put a T-shirt in every seat in the entire stadium, and all the fans that come in put on the T-shirt that is awaiting them at their seat. And, I mean, it is a unanimous crowd. Everybody there is cheering for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they're doing it again tonight. And it is quite a sight to see. Whereas here in Orlando, you're very likely to see more, Cleveland jerseys in the stands tonight than Magic jerseys, unfortunately, which kind of stinks.
Yeah, it does.
Like to see some more support for the home team. All right, 844-580-WDBO. Coming up, we're gonna take more of your phone calls, more of your comments about the issue of illegal immigration as America is warming up to the idea of mass deportations of illegal immigrants. Plus, there is a proposed new bill that would have to come up in the next legislative session to let college students carry guns on campuses. Are you down for that or not down for that? You can let me know now using the open mic in the WDBO app.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. News, weather, traffic, all the things you want on your drive home. Plus, Joe Kelley being, Joe Kelley. Now, the Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's News and Talk, WDBO.
I love that guy, Robert Vincent Sims, the Garden Rebel. You know him, Laurel.
I do, quite well.
Is he not like the nicest guy imaginable?
He absolutely is. He is super kind all the time.
Good family guy and all that stuff?
Oh my gosh, yes. Fantastic.
But he uses the word curvilinear in his spot there. And I thought, okay, now he's just making up words. Curvilinear. That's not a thing. I looked it up. Doggone it, that's a real word. Curvilinear means, it means obviously what it sounds like it means. Something that is made up of, bounded by, or characterized by curved lines. So yes, curvilinear, which means curved line. So curvilinear. So all right, today Robert Vincent Sims, the Garden Rebel, has taught me a word. Curvilinear. I don't know how I could use it in my world context. What is it? In what way?
Is it before the end of the show? That's your challenge.
All right. Before the show's over, I will find a way to use curvilinear, and it'll be a tip of the hat to Robert Vincent Sims, the Garden Rebel. Coming up, by the way, I have an update for everybody because I know a lot of y'all are sitting at the edge of your seat and you can't wait to hear the follow-up story. But I have a follow-up. If you remember a month or so ago, 2 months, whatever it was, I got pulled over for the first time in 30 some odd years. I got pulled over by the police in Winter Garden. It was one night after the show. I was going to a gathering of Christian men for fellowship, and the police officer claimed that I didn't come to a complete stop at the stop sign. And since that was my first traffic infraction in literally like 3 decades, I've never had a ticket in Florida. I didn't know what to do with it. I had no idea how to handle it. Do I take the driving class? Do I just pay the ticket? What are points? Is that going to be bad? Are points bad? Points sound terrible. I don't like points. So I got a lot of great advice.
Except for the Magic tonight, points are good.
Points would be good for the Magic, yes. I got a lot of great advice from our listeners, and I took the advice of a few of you, and I now have a conclusion. It's over. It has been settled and done, and I will explain to everybody coming up after 6 o'clock how it has now been resolved. So I'll have that for you coming up in a few minutes. Interesting open mic here.
As I was leaving work today on the University of Central Florida campus, I saw the electronic billboard saying, "No camping on campus." So I guess UCF got the word.
That is interesting, isn't it? So they're being proactive out at UCF. No camping on campus. There were protests at Florida State University today. I saw the video online, and kind of interesting. At Florida State, they turned on the sprinklers to keep these students from setting up tents and gathering on the lawn. They turned the sprinklers all on, which is highly effective. And then a bunch of ding-dongs went and covered up the sprinklers. And then some other students went along and uncovered the sprinklers. So it was a battle of the sprinklers. And then I texted my college-aged daughter. My daughter is at school at the University of Tennessee. And I said, hey, sweetie, are they having any protests on campus today or this week? And she said, no, but then she sent me a picture. She goes, there is a dunk tank. So I don't know why. I don't know what the dunk tank is for. I'm sure some fraternity or sorority is doing some sort of fundraiser or something. But thankfully, at the University of Tennessee, at least not yet, they're not doing any kind of protests at the University of Tennessee. But they are at Florida State. All right,
you mean to tell me no one has ever asked you to be in a dunk tank before, Joe Kelley? Take your best shot at me, and dunk me in the water.
Yeah, probably when I was in college. Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah, the water was always cold, miserable.
Yeah, right. They don't make it comfortable, spa warm for you.
No, they don't.
Want you to suffer.
So we're talking about deportation and whether or not it's actually possible to deport 10 million plus people from the United States.
Joe, I know you say that we can't do it, the logistics is impossible, but remember, during World War II, in the middle of a war, the evacuation of Dunkirk, more than 250,000 people in 8 days were evacuated, and that's in the middle of a war. We don't even have that, and we have more supplies now.
Well, by your own math, 250,000 is a drop in the bucket compared to 10 million. And keep in mind, that was 250,000 men who desperately wanted to go. They were desperate to leave the beaches of Dunkirk and to make it back to England. And so they would swim if they have to. These will in large part be people who aren't very excited about leaving, certainly not as excited as the troops were at Dunkirk.
Joe, this is Tom in Longwood.
Tom!
I agree with you 100%. I think we should withdraw all the money that we're paying them when they get here and then pay them to go back. Like Paul Harvey used to say, self-government without self-discipline won't work. Good day?
Good day indeed.
Hey, Joe, I like the way you think. I think that's a great start. Even if we didn't get the complete 10 million, 1/3 of it would probably still be the largest deportation of illegal immigrants.
You make a good point. You actually make a very good point there, that even if we make it impossible for illegal immigrants to live here in the United States, we'll still probably have several million that'll have to be deported by force. And yes, that could be the largest domestic deportation operation in American history.
Hey, Joe, please clarify that statement with let's make America miserable for everyone who is not an American citizen or legal permanent resident. My family came from Jamaica and we came in the right way, legally, worked for 5 years, and then applied for a U.S. citizenship, which we now have and hold very dearly.
Well, and that's honestly, that's a great point. And one of my biggest concerns is if we get into deportation mania, if we just get all giddy about rounding people up and deporting them, we're going to get to a point at which we're going to be like Nazi Germany, requesting everybody's papers before before they can enter the grocery store. Papers, please. Before they enter Home Depot, papers, please. Before they enter a school. Well, actually, you're supposed to present your papers, before you register a kid for school anyway. Before you enter a hospital, papers, please. I mean, we don't want to be that society. And we have, we are the melting pot, and we don't want to look at anybody who has brown skin and says, "Oh, they're illegal. We got to get rid of them." I mean, we don't want to become that country. We don't. Which again is why I would rather make things difficult for people rather than us getting caught up in this fervor of deporting anybody who doesn't look like us.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, From the Bogan Munz & Munz WDBO Traffic Center. Auto accident? Choose Bogan Munz & Munz.
Well, you got a crash on 434 eastbound right before Moss Road. All of the eastbound lanes are closed. It is affecting some of the westbound side traffic too, but all of the eastbound lanes are closed starting at North Winter Park Drive. You'll have to take 419 or Seminole Boulevard instead. But again, all of those eastbound lanes, and it's very highly traveled right about now. 434 eastbound, making you stop there at North Winter Park Drive all the way to South Moss Road. ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Service. For honesty, integrity, and 100% customer satisfaction, call ProTech 407-502-6263 or visit ProTechAC.com. From the WDBO Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. From the jazz age to the information age, WDBO has been there. Join us in saluting a century of broadcasting excellence. Happy 100th WDBO, the soundtrack to Orlando's history.
Such a beautiful weather, nights like tonight, days like today. When I get off the air at 7 o'clock, I'm not going to lie to you. I keep a fishing rod and reel in my trunk and a selection of crankbait, and I will stop and go fishing before I go home. Just as I drive home. I never drive on the toll roads because that's my way of sticking it to the man, right? So I never drive the toll roads, and I just drive the back streets to get to my house out in West Orange County. And if I see a pond and it's open and it's available and it's, public property, then I'll just pull over and go to the trunk and I get my rod and reel out and I'll just walk over and cast. And last night, Paul, I found this great pond that had this curvilinear edge to it, and I was able to work that edge. I didn't catch anything. I came up empty last night, but that's why they call it fishing and not catching, right?
Nicely done, Joe Kelley.
Well,
Nicely done.
I got to give props to a guy in the open mic who suggested I could use it that way. So,
and you know what? To me, I'm not a fisherman, and so I always look at guys and gals at the side of the road in a little pond with their what the heck are they doing? This is the first thing I think when I'm driving by. But you know what? It's peaceful. It's nice. I guess you get to clear your head.
It is. It really is. And it's relaxing. And when the weather's this nice, when there's still sunlight, it reminds me of when we were kids. You got to be home by the time the street lights come on. And as soon as the sun goes down, I'm like, well, I'm finished fishing. That's it. That's it for tonight when it starts to get dark. And that's when I say, all right, this is my last cast. And then I'll say, okay, no, this is my last cast. And I'm like, no, this is my last cast. No, this is my last cast.
What do you do if you ever catch a fish or when you have caught fish? What do you do?
I let him go. I just catch and release. Yeah, I'll take a picture. Or a couple nights ago, I was flying my drone while I was fishing. So I was taking drone video of me fishing, hoping that I was going to be able to catch something, and I did. And I posted that video, and so that's kind of fun.
Are you looking for fish when is it clear enough to where you can see where fish are?
Not typically.
Is there huddled in a certain area?
Not typically, and regrettably, there's often trash that are in some of these ponds and stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
So
cars. We all found that.
That's right.
Too,
there's cars that are down at the bottom, and but it's fun, and I'll probably do the same again tonight. I will make sure I stop at all stop signs tonight on the way. So all right, I got to follow up. So so let me back up. So I don't know, what was it, 2 months ago, a couple months ago? I was when I got off the air one night at 7 o'clock. We have a monthly men's fellowship meeting that's in Winter Garden, and it's a men's Christian group, and we get together and we iron sharpens iron, and we just get together and we make each other better men. And I was on my way there, and I was it's an outdoor event, and I could see the meeting. They're in my sights. I was right there. I was about to pull into the parking lot.
More importantly, they could all see you.
Yes, that's the thing. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I got pulled over right in front of this gathering of men. So when I finally got there after getting a ticket, I walk out. I'm like, hey, do you guys see the guy? I actually said, do you guys see that ding dong that just got pulled over? And they're like, yeah. I said, that was me. And they're like, oh no. Like, yes, it was me. And I was so frustrated. I was right there in front of Plant Street Market on Plant Street in Winter Garden. And I would argue that I sufficiently stopped at the stop sign. The officer evidently thought that I didn't sufficiently stop at the stop sign. I don't have a dash cam. I wish I had a dash cam. because I would like to be able to review the footage on that and see just how close I came to coming to a full stop at the stop sign. So
just how close I came to stopping.
Right. Because I think I came adequately close to stopping at the stop sign to not warrant a ticket. And the guy was nice. The officer was nice, and he gave me a ticket, and I was on my way. But that was literally the first ticket I have had in easily 30 years. I generally don't speed, and I generally stop at stop signs, and I generally don't cause problems. So that was my first ticket. And I honestly, I didn't know what to do. I've never had a ticket in Florida before. I didn't know what to do. So we took a lot of calls and comments, if you recall the discussion from a month or two ago. And somebody said, oh, man, no, just do like the ticket clinic or whatever, and they'll take care of it for you. So I went through all my options, and just like everybody said, I got all kinds of mail saying, do this class, don't do this class, do this class. Here's a way to do it. Do this, don't do that. I got so many options in the mail. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, this, it's obviously all public records, and you've got these classes and whatever that just sit and wait for the public records of that day of who got tickets and who's eligible to get out of the ticket by taking a class. And so I weighed all of my options, and I decided, to heck with it. I'm just going to go with a ticket clinic. Hi, I'm Joe Kelley for the ticket clinic.
No.
So I'd largely forgotten about it. And it was still in the back of my mind, but largely I'd got about because once you hand it over to the ticket clinic, they say, you're done. You don't have to do anything until you hear back from us. You don't have to show up in court. You don't have to do anything. You're done. And I thought, okay, you said it and forget it. And now I'll just wait. Well, this afternoon, about an hour before the show started, I had an email in my inbox from the ticket clinic. And the email doesn't say one way or the other. It says, click here for an important document. And then, of course, I'm always hyper aware of phishing scams. And I'm like, wait a minute. I know that I'm expecting an email from the ticket clinic. Am I allowed to click on this or not? So I kind of like winced. I'm like, oh, please don't let this be a phishing attack. And so I clicked on it, and I've got my letter. Would you like to read what it says? Well, would you like me to read what it says?
Yes, please.
Dear Joseph James Kelley. Aw, that's me. An attorney appeared on your behalf on April 22nd, 2024 at the Ocoee Courthouse. That was like 3 days ago. Was that Monday? So there was a court hearing Monday that my lawyers appeared on my behalf. I didn't have to appear in court. The president had to be in court. I did not have to be in court. It reads, we are pleased to inform you that the court withheld adjudication. No points were assessed and no conviction will appear on your Florida driving record.
Wow.
The court has ordered you to pay the costs in the amount of $197 within 60 days. Please include your case number on your payment and mail it to the address below.
So you're going to pay the full fine.
I already have.
You're not going to have any.
No, it's not the fine. It's court costs, not the fine.
That's court costs.
Court costs. So there's no fine, no points, and it's not on my driving record. So I had to pay like $100 up front to hire the ticket clinic, and then now I'm on the hook for like $200 for court costs. So all told, I'm out like $300 for coming incredibly close to stopping at a stop sign. I mean,
now you have lived in the state that I grew up in, and that is called a California stop.
But I know.
You slow down
I did
just enough to
did better than a California stop,
and then keep going.
I did better than a California stop.
You did?
I mean, I came so close to coming to a full stop. I don't even know how the officer saw that I didn't stop. But at least, but now I'm like, okay, but I'm out $300.
Yeah, $300.
That does not make me happy.
$300 slow stop.
Yeah, and I will tell you that was a nice reminder. That's 300 lessons for me. And when I hit a stop sign now, I don't care how many people are in line behind me. I don't care how impatient they are. I am laying my foot on the brake.
You're putting it in park.
That's right.
You're putting the parking brake
I'm
on.
gonna back up 5 feet just to make sure. I'm gonna exaggerate just how much I'm stopping to make up for that one time.
You're gonna
one
get
time.
out of the car. Wave. I've made a stop.
I mean, I feel like I should get credit for all the amazing times I have stopped. For all of the amazing driving that I have done. I don't get any credit for that. One time I come to an almost stop and I get tagged.
300 bones. Jeez.
I know. So that kind of stinks.
Well, you do get credit for being a good guy and letting everybody know about your experience. And so now they will come to a full stop.
Yeah, y'all stop.
Credit you.
Definitely you want to stop at a stop sign all the way. And, I mean, like, completely lay your foot hard on the brake until you're at a complete stop, particularly on Plant Street in Winter Garden. The officer was really nice. He was really nice. And he was just doing his job. But, man, I was so close to coming to a complete stop. It's very, very upsetting to me. All right, coming up next here, this was a surprise to me that McDonald's has been named America's #1 most loved chain restaurant. McDonald's. Does that surprise you guys? What is your #1 most loved chain restaurant? 844-580-WDBO. You can use the open mic and the WDBO app.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Connected to our community. Talk local issues and events with Joe Kelley. Use the open mic in the WDBO app and let Joe know what interests you. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
So you know how I had those allergies that were bothering me, and then I did the nasal douche, and then everything seems to be fine now, and I'm doing really well? Can you... Yeah. Do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
You love saying that, yes.
So, my sweet Ronnie Sue, I love her so much. She's such a sweetie. But she seems to have either caught my allergies or you can't catch allergies. She either has allergies or she has a cold. And she has this adorable little snore thing that she does when she's asleep, and it's so cute. And I'm not being sarcastic at all. It's more like a loud breathing than it is snoring, except last night. Because she's so congested right now. And unlike me, I don't mind taking medicines. You know, I'll take some over-the-counter medicines or nasal sprays or whatever. She doesn't like to take medicines. So she went to bed just completely stuffed up, and bless her heart, she snored so loud last night that I couldn't sleep. So I got up and slept on the couch last night. And I don't know if y'all have ever met me, but I'm like 6'5" or 6'10" or something like that. I'm incredibly tall. There is no couch that can fit me. So I am so sleepy. I slept terribly last night because I slept on the couch last night so that she could sleep peacefully. And so now she and I are squabbling in text messages. She's like, well, I'll sleep on the couch tonight. She is shorter. She is fun-sized. And she would fit on the couch much better than I would fit on the couch. But I think what I'm going to do, I got to say this quietly in case she's listening. I think once she falls asleep, I'm going to get some nasal spray, and I'm just going to spray a little bit up each nostril while she's sleeping, and she'll never know that I have sprayed nasal spray up her nostrils.
You should just get earplugs.
Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I will just get earplugs.
Instead of drugging someone without them knowing.
Well, don't say it like that.
Earplugs is highly effective.
It's not like I'm drugging them with narcotics or tranquilizer. Wait a minute.
Hello, get me out of drug ticket.
Yes, that's right. And then, Your Honor, he said on the air, I'm just going to drug her while she's asleep.
And it was so close to not going up her nose.
That's right. I came so close to not drugging her. It was almost like I didn't drug her at all.
It's a California drugging.
Yes. Ooh, golly. All right. I'm so sleepy. I'm
Poor
really.
Ronnie Sue.
I know. Bless
She's
her
going to
heart.
go to sleep with one eye open tonight.
That's right. Just in case. Now she will. We're both going to be in different corners of the room.
We're going to be staring
trying
at each
to
other
sleep.
all night long.
She caught you in the chat.
That's
she
right.
said she snorted from laughing at you.
Oh no! Oh no! I'm in such trouble now. Oh my stomach hurts from laughing. Oh no! And then the dog is confused because the dog, likes to sleep where we are. The dog actually sleeps right under our bed. And so when I got up and went to the couch last night, the dog literally does one of these double takes. Like, wait, do I go with mom? Do I go with dad? Do I go with mom? Do I go with dad? And so he came out there and laid with me for a while. I think he went. So I don't think Arwen, my stepdog, I don't think Arwen got any sleep last night either. I don't think anybody in my house slept last night. So
good luck tonight.
Yes. I already told her, I said, I'm not going fishing today. I'm coming straight home and I'm going to bed. And I figure if I get to sleep before she does, maybe that'll be helpful if I can fall asleep before she does. So it'll be a race to see who can fall asleep first. Am I sharing too much information? Am I oversharing? I sometimes get accused of oversharing information. Okay, so McDonald's. By the way, so McDonald's has snagged the top spot in a brand new ranking of America's most beloved chains. So I thought they were ranking fast food restaurants, but they're saying chains. Number 2 is Domino's Pizza. I'm sorry, they just go by Domino's now, don't they? Domino's is number 2. Domino's is America's 10th largest fast food chain. They raked in $9 billion, but McDonald's raked in $53 billion. So number 1 is McDonald's for the most beloved food chain. Then Domino's. Next is Chick-fil-A. I'm the one guy that doesn't like Chick-fil-A. Taco Bell is in 4th place. I love Taco Bell. We just talked about that.
And this is by the amount of money served or just paid?
No, I'm so glad you asked.
Amount of money.
So glad you asked. This has to do with how many internet searches there are for these businesses, which honestly could go either way. Sometimes you might search McDonald's because you had a terrible experience or something like that, Nah, probably not.
That's interesting.
So Taco Bell was next, then Pizza Hut. They still have Pizza Hut? Is that still a thing?
One in Claremont.
They have Pizza Hut and Taco Bell in the same place because they're both owned by the same company. So sometimes you have a Pizza Hut and Taco Bell together.
Followed by Chipotle, Subway, Burger King, Wendy's, and Texas Roadhouse. How does Texas Roadhouse fit in that same category? I mean, Texas Roadhouse is a sit-down restaurant.
But it's a chain.
Yeah.
It's a chain, yeah. Interesting.
I'm disappointed to see Wendy's as low as it is. And I'm a little
Wendy's
surprised that Domino's
is. I went to Wendy's today already.
When was the last time you had Domino's pizza?
And all pizza tastes the same to me, so I would order Domino's.
I mean, I truly cannot remember the last time I had Domino's pizza. And it's important for some of our younger listeners. You may not understand this, but Domino's was the originator. Domino's is the OG. Domino's was Uber Eats before Uber Eats even knew what Uber Eats was. Domino's was the first company ever that you could call on the phone and get food delivered. It was a miracle. Chinese restaurants had done it, but as far as a chain restaurant, Domino's was the very first restaurant to ever do that. And
you remember the Noid?
Oh, yeah.
Noid?
That was their mascot.
Their big mascot.
Absolutely so. So we owe all food delivery to Domino's.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. For 100 years, we've been your voice, your source, your heartbeat. From the roaring 20s to the digital age, we've been there for it all. Happy 100th anniversary, WDBO, where history and headlines meet.
All right, so now I'm mad. So do you remember, let me see if I can jog your memory. Do you remember me telling you about how I got a ticket? Do you guys remember that, Laurel, Paul?
Vaguely.
Yeah, vaguely,
okay.
But I do remember a little bit about it.
So, you know who got pulled over is Giselle Bazunjden. Giselle Bizunchton. What's her? How do you say her?
Tom Brady's ex.
Tom Brady's ex-wife. So Giselle got pulled over in Surfside, Florida, after she was swerving her car. She was pulled over by Surfside, Florida police. She was being chased by paparazzi. So photographers. She's claiming the Princess Di defense. She was driving erratically because of the paparazzi. I now have the body cam video of the officer who doesn't give her a ticket. All right? So listen up. And she starts crying. You know, girls, Laurel, you just start crying when you get pulled over and you get out of it. You're like, I'm Giselle. So listen to this.
I'll give you a courtesy today.
Thank you. I was just trying to escape from that guy.
I understand who you are. I know that.
I'll give you a courtesy. I understand who you are.
There's nothing I can do about that.
No, but they're stalking me.
Okay, well then file a report with Miami Beach because it was coming from Miami Beach.
She says they're stalking me, and the cop says file a report from Miami Beach. That's where they were coming from.
Okay.
So
there's more than look at that.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So there's nothing I can do about that. But what do you need? Why are you crying?
Oh, I'm so tired. Everywhere.
What do you need? Why are you crying? What does he want from that? What do you need? Why are you crying? Where do you think this is going, officer?
No, I have these fucking guys after me. Nothing protects me. I can do nothing. I just want to live my life.
I can't prevent them from doing their job, which is to take pictures. Do you need anything else? Can I assist you in anything else?
No, sorry.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and that's it. And
can I assist you with anything else aside from letting you go with absolutely no ticket whatsoever?
Right. So next time, I'm just going to do that. They're being paparazzi.
The cop's going to look at you and look back and say, I haven't seen anybody 6 miles behind you, Joe.
There is no one that wants a picture of you, bro. I'll be like, yeah, I know. I'm well aware of that. All right, so you guys have got to hear this. This is NYU protesters in New York City. Some college students from Columbia decided to go to NYU to lend their voices to the protest at NYU, and evidently they're unclear what they're protesting.
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU's doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either. I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia, and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support. So I came down. I heard there's lots of cops. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
She says, I wish I was more educated. Can you believe that? These are Columbia students saying, I wish I was more educated. Gosh, if there was only a way that you could get more educated, if you could ask questions, perhaps, before you decide to go join a protest somewhere. That's why, and forgive me, but I don't take these protests terribly seriously, because what there is there'll be, let's say there's a group of 100 people that are protesting. Out of the 100, there's probably 4 or 5 agitators that are probably paid agitators, paid by Hamas, paid by the Palestinian Liberation Organization, paid by the Democratic Party, paid by somebody. They're paid to be there. They're professional muckrakers. They're professional pudding stirrers. And then you've got 95 people who just want to be involved in a crowd. They just want to go along, and they like see a crowd, and they're like, oh, I want to be a part of a crowd. I want to do that. I want to get out of class today. I want to be special. I want to be neat. I want to be different. They're just narcissistic, and they just have to go out and be different in their mind. Speaking about being different, Laurel, I don't know if you saw this story. Some of these Disney blog sites are just annoying. Some of these are nothing but clickbait.
Very much so.
And you'll see these dramatic headlines, and then you go through and you're like, okay, that really wasn't a thing. But I saw this headline, family outraged at Disney World, realized the evil queen actress that they took pictures with was a man. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
So a family, let's see, they did this storybook dining at Artist Point at Disney's Wilderness Lodge Resort. Premium price, they got to pay for this, and they do character meet and greets. And they believe that the evil queen was actually a dude dressed as a woman. Now they have no way
that would make him a queen.
They have no way to prove that. And they did there's a 3-page story about this. Obviously, the father was not thrilled, deciding to escalate the issue to a manager. That conversation went nowhere fast. The manager insisted that the actor was a woman and stated lamely, "I'm sorry, sir, I cannot answer that." When the father asked, is the evil queen a biological male? And it was all based upon like 11-second interaction. You'll be able to hear the audio here. You can barely hear the queen, but they're basing this whole thing on the queen's voice sounding like it could be masculine.
I love you. You are my favorite evil queen. Oh my God.
I'm also my favorite. We have so much in common.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's take a picture.
So I don't know if that was a man or not. But
how can you tell?
But you know what? I saw the video of it. The evil queen looked like an evil queen. I mean, whether it's a dude or a girl, she looked plenty evil. And I mean, at this point, they're actors in makeup. They're actors in costume. Does it really matter?
And let me speak for women with deeper voices. Some of us have deeper voices we don't all have.
Right.
High-pitched voices and sound like a princess.
Right. And as an evil queen rather than a Disney princess, I mean, a Disney princess probably has a higher octave voice range, right?
Right, you'd think. Yes, the princesses are meant to sound high and happy.
Right, but the evil queen is likely to have a deeper voice.
Right, she's intimidating, right?
And
you would think.
Yeah, and look, I don't know, and you're spending literally 10 seconds with a character. I just can't see getting all bent out of shape and calling for a manager to come over and all that kind of stuff. Even if, and there's no way to prove it might have been a woman. And it's all about nothing, and yet someone is going to make a big deal out of it.
Some people live their life to complain.
Yep.
They've got to find something to complain about, or they don't feel good about themselves.
Yep, you're absolutely right. They're not happy unless they're unhappy. I'm Joe Kelley. You're listening to The Joe Kelley Show. Thanks for joining us here on WDBO.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Insightful.
You tell the truth from your point of view.
Entertaining.
Man, that guy is a lot taller than he sounds on the radio.
And engaging.
When we hear you on the radio, it's a good thing.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
So, all right, Laurel, I saw this headline. 10-year-old girl saves herself from being eaten by an alligator using a trick she learned at a gator-themed amusement park. And I looked through, I thought, I gotta see this. I gotta find out more about this. And then I looked and I realized that it was a rework of a story that happened in 2017. So I didn't report it as news or anything, but I kept it because I thought it was interesting. I thought it was really interesting. So this was a 10-year-old girl back in 2017, and it was here in the Orlando area. She found that she was face-to-face with an alligator, and they taught her a thing that she learned at Gatorland. And I just, since we were at Pints and Politics last week at Wekiva Island, and there's gators all over the place, and Wekiva Springs and Wekiva Island, and we've got gators in every pond everywhere, I thought, I don't think I knew this. So do you know what the trick is if you're getting attacked by an alligator, or what to do if you're getting approached by an alligator, an aggressive alligator?
I know that if it's got you, like it's your arm's in its mouth, there's a pallet in the back of its throat you're supposed to try to hit because that'll let water go down into its throat. But no, if I'm like I'm in a standoff with an alligator, I think I'd just try to back away slowly. I don't know a trick.
So this little girl, 10 years old, something that she says she learned at Gatorland is to take your two fingers, your index finger and your middle finger, and stick them in its nose.
Okay.
Because they can't breathe that way.
Interesting.
Because if their mouth is underwater, they breathe through their nose, evidently. I mean, I know they breathe through their nose, but evidently that's the way to get the gator to back off is to stick your finger. Would you have the presence of mind to do that?
Right? I mean, yeah, you're bleeding. I'm assuming the gator's biting me, right? You're bleeding, it's thrashing around, and you're like, wait, let me aim for your nostrils.
Right. Because they say to punch a shark in the snout, which I don't know that I would have the presence of mind to do that. And I feel like if I were to punch a shark in the snout, that I feel like my hand would just go right into its mouth. I'd miss the snout and just go right into its mouth. That sounds terrible. But just keep that in mind. So keep a glass break device inside your vehicle at all times in case you ever find yourself submerged in water, and stick your fingers up an alligator's nose if you're trying to get out from underneath that alligator. Don't forget, by the way, your next chance to win $1,000 in the WDBO payroll payout is coming up when? Anyone? Tomorrow morning. What time?
8 a.m.
With?
Scott Inez.
Yeah, you got that right. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on Orlando's Morning News with Scott Inez, you got a chance to win $1,000 in the WDBO payroll payout. And that is, it's real money, man. It's real money that you could win. And who doesn't, frankly, need an extra $1,000? I am not going to go fishing this afternoon, but I am going to have to go home and face my wife and try to convince her that I'm not going to drug her in her sleep.
You are going to make one stop. That's to buy
flowers,
earplugs.
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 That's right.
Flowers would be great.
Yeah.
Earplugs.
Earplugs. Got it. Check. Maybe I'll just buy a bottle of alcohol instead. I won't hear a thing. All right. We'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon, 5 till 7 here on WDBO.